once again, we have to switch over, and then we get to show the camera. John, hear you there. Thanks for dropping by, as you always do. It's a power hour today, and that's because we got a match coming up at noon. We'll get into the talk about that coming up here in just a little bit. It's a Wall Pass Wednesday, so anything is on the table, and it'll be an opportunity for us to kind of let you know what's going on here quickly before we all head out the door and go to our respective either matches, celebrations, or trying to figure out a way to watch it from work. So here's the rundown for today. We got opening kickoff coming up in a bit, and it's got to do with math, thanks to our friends at Kennesaw State and our friend, Professor Chad Gabert, who we had on yesterday, talking about new stats and innovations and things like that. There was one stat that we talked about yesterday. I think it was the player impact stat. And going into yesterday's matches, Chad had come up with his top 24 in that particular category. So we will give you the top 24 in that run. Morning, Alex. And I need to change line number 2, considering that Maddie and Jason had the con last night, and they did Atlanta Soccer Tonight stoppage time style. And I don't know if Jarrett actually got his audio figured out. I hope he did, because there were moments where Jarrett was just sad last night when the three of them were watching Mexico and Ecuador. Latry and Eltry. We'll have the main highlight coming up for that one in just a little bit. And we'll go over what happened yesterday, get you ready for today, any of the news that's on the table, and we do have reports involving Atlanta United that we will get into, in addition to all of the other news of the day, gossip, rumor, and innuendo, what to watch. It should be pretty easy as to what to watch. We're just going to tell you where. Once again, brought to us by our friends at Fanati's, coming up in just a little bit. Okay, so opening kickoff. Brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com, starting your day with the most important stories in the game. Right way to start your morning. Black Pitch Coffee, part of the SDH community, showing up at events all over Atlanta. Try their home blend made with beans from Brazil and Guatemala, heavy-bodied, notes of walnut, semi-sweet chocolate, and a rich world-class finish. Opening kickoff, powered by Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. So as we were talking yesterday when we had Chad Gabert in, and they had come up with their statistic, and Chad had come up with his, and I'm hoping that we can get him to continue to update this as we go. The World Cup Field Player Impact Score, the WCFPIS, leading into yesterday, and some of the names are fairly familiar, and you had others that were, how should we say, surprises. So it was crazy to see these numbers that, when you put things together and you put them in a spreadsheet, you talk about impact, and there were some names on here that were kind of surprising. This was heading into yesterday, obviously. With the highlights, we'll know some of the folks that got elevated in the standings. So let me show you the math that Kennesaw State and Chad Gabert gave us involving the World Cup Field Player Impact. So here we go. Here's the full screen that in the spreadsheet. So here's your numbers. And they did assign goals with certain points, and they did assign assists and creation and all this kind of stuff. So you see no real surprises at 1, 2, and 3. Messi, Mbappe, and Vinicius. Dennis Undav is ranked at number 4, ahead of Jude Bellingham, Ousmane Dembele, Pedro Vite heading into yesterday. And it was Holland. You know that Holland is going to increase. Mbappe is going to go up. And Bellingham might go up today. Cody Gakpo, he is going to be frozen at 22,975. Crescencio Somerville. Jose Canale. Jose Canale, obviously one of the big surprises there, considering what we talked about, the story of the ballad of Jose Canale. We had that yesterday. And with his impact that he had defensively, with all of the numbers that he drew up, and they were insane defensive numbers, and that's why his numbers are somewhat slanted in the defensive and pressing points. He doesn't get any credit for the PK game winner. Puts him at number 11. Manzambi, Pedri, Ismail Assar, Florian Wirtz, Olise, and I think his numbers are going to go up. Sangare, Salah, Guimaraes, Alijanov, Mohamed Hani, Isak Papgay, and Christ Inal Ulai. That one was another defensive player that you got to keep an eye on. But that's the 24. Like I said, there were some surprises in here, and some of them having to do with the modern day effectiveness in the round, and some that we were like, oh yeah, that guy. But yeah, Canale showing up at number 11 because of his defensive numbers for Paraguay. That one was a bit of a surprise. Audacy, like we said, he'll go up from 16, and this was going into yesterday, so we anticipate that these numbers will be going up. Audacy at 16, Canale at 11. That one was the big stunner for me. Holland's going to go up. Dennis Undav probably going to go up. Vinicius Jr., Mbappe, and Messi going up. So that was your that's right now heading into yesterday, your World Cup field player impacts. World Cup field player impact score. Okay, so World Cup, WCFPIS, World Cup field player impact score. Okay, thank you, Ricky, that Jared finally did get the mic working. But yes, through all of the math, goals, assists, shots on target per 90, XA, then it was tackles per 90, picks per 90, clearances per 90, and that's where Canale probably got a boatload of his numbers. Blocks per 90, and then there were two others. Forward passes per 90, and then a final statistic there that gave you 0.04 attempted passes per 90. I think is that one. So that's your numbers from Kennesaw State University about your World Cup field player impact scores. So hopefully we can keep that one going, and we'll let you know what's going on. The more they update it, and like I said, the more that Chad will flash that in, we'll let you know. But there were some surprises. Like I said, Canale for me was one of the surprises. But when you think about it, with all the defensive numbers he had, now you know why he was at number 11. I'm going to be interested to see as this continues to grow what the WCFPIS is from our friends at Kennesaw State. So that was very, very cool for Chad to do that for us yesterday, leading into last night's action. That's opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. Once again, starting your day with the most important stories in the game. Right way to start your morning. Black Pitch Coffee, part of the SDH community, showing up at events all over Atlanta. Try the home blend made with beans from Brazil and Guatemala, heavy bodied, notes of walnut, semi-sweet chocolate, and the rich world-class finish. Opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. I'm anticipating Jamie Watson joining us from inside the broadcast compound. He and Chris Sharples are going to have the host broadcast of today's match of England and DR Congo. Had the MD-1s yesterday, and you'll hear from Thomas Tuchel coming up in a bit about what he expects from DR Congo, and we'll let you know what Sebastian de Saab had to say about this matchup as well. We're going to get to that into the preview section in the second half of the show. So yesterday we had 3 matches, and it reinforced on a couple of different fronts what traditionally we anticipated with some of the folks that got the Dukes yesterday. So first match out of the blocks was at Jerry World, and it was Norway and Cote d'Ivoire. Cote d'Ivoire is one of those teams where you sit there when they are locked in, they are locked in, and then they just will have moments where you're just kind of sitting there going, well, what happened? And their brilliance and their inconsistency, I think, is what we are attached to when it comes to Cote d'Ivoire. Goals on the board, one either side. You had Antonio Nusa scoring in the first half, 1-0 at the break. Amad Diallo scored. That scream you heard at the time was Drew Dickinson. So it's 14 minutes to go, 16 minutes to go, plus any added time. It was 1-1. Then you had the idea that some dude would probably have a moment. And sure enough, he would have that moment. Courtesy of our friends, once again, at Telemundo Deportes. Mama, there goes that man again. The cyborg made it 2-1.
Va de la punta al medio, el número 22. Qué lindo pase que metió. A ver, el centro está. Apareció el niño prodigio. Apareció Erling Haaland sobre el final del partido para decir que Noruega quiere ir a Nueva York para jugar frente a Brasil por octavos de final. El partido se vuelve a romper en Dallas. Haaland llega a 5 goles en el campeonato del mundo. Gana Noruega.
Goal number 5 for Erling Haaland. And 4 minutes to go. And the Côte d'Ivoire defense obviously going to the ball on the end line, trying to pin Norway in so they can't, charge into the near post. But when you do that, some dude's lurking at the top of the 6, and it ended up basically being just a slam dunk. So a slam dunk for Holland in the 86th. 2-1 your win. Norway advances. We'll go over the bracket as well coming up in a bit. So that sends us to the Meadowlands for game number 2. And I'll break the fourth wall here for a second. The match in and of itself was going on fairly simultaneously with the anticipated England press conference. So while we were waiting for Thomas Tuchel and Jordan Pickford, they had the match on in the press conference room. And the room itself was packed, obviously, as everyone was waiting to hear from Thomas Tuchel. But literally, you had so many folks who I guess were either fans of either Kylian Mbappe or France or both. France. That every time as they were working in the first 45 from right to left, every chance that France had literally looked like it was going to go in the back of the net. It didn't, obviously, but you had a goal in the 45th by Mbappe, who would get a brace with 16 to go. And then when it was 1-0, you would end up with goal number 2, but not from dictator Mbappe. I don't know if this goal was sanctioned. If dictator Mbappe said, yeah, this is okay, you can do this, or not. But nevertheless, the ball did go into the back of the net. Went from 1-0 to 2-0, 53rd minute. Bradley Barcola at the end of it all. Once again, courtesy of our friends, Telemundo Deportes.
Excepcional Copa del Mundo cuando se viene Francia, Chouameni, la quiere Olise, dámela, sí señor, la quiere ahora Rabiot, le puede pegar al arco, lo va a tener Kylian. Se estaba demorando. Apareció Bradley Barcola para decirnos, iniciando esta segunda parte, que Francia gana 2-0.
No sé si decirlo ya. Voy a esperar un ratico más, pero tiene un ataque pero posicional esta selección de Francia, porque ponderábamos la rápida recuperación de la pelota. Tenía por fuera Dembélé y dice, no, pero voy por dentro que lo tengo muy bien ubicado a Olise, y el pase que le pone es perfecto para Barcola.
And so Barcola gets the second of the 3. Like I said, I don't know if that goal was sanctioned or not by a dictator Mbappe. Nevertheless, it went in. 3-0 winners there. Minus 400 what were the numbers for France, plus 1,000 for Sweden going in with the juice boxes. And to give you the stats themselves, just to discuss dominance here for a minute. 61-39 possession, 7 big chances to 1, XG 3.24 to 0.7. Total shots 25-8, 9 saves compared to 3, 24 fouls, 14-10. The number of passes attempted by France was about 40% more than attempted by Sweden. 13 tackles each. Looking at the attack numbers once again, 25-8 on shots, 12-3 on target, 2 hit the woodwork, 9-4 off target, 4 were blocked of France's. 16 of the 25 shots were inside the 18-yard box, which meant obviously 9 were outside. 35 touches inside the opponent's 18 compared to 14. Passes in the final third, 180 of 207 for France. 64 of 105 for Sweden. 17 long balls completed to 11 on less attempts, basically doubling the percentage. 4 crosses compared to 3. Individual numbers and individual scoring, once again, courtesy of our friends at SofaScore. Barcola a 7.9. Mbappe, obviously, a 9.8. And sometimes you just get lost in the numbers. Mbappe yesterday, 2 goals on 5 shots, 4 shots on target. Passing numbers for Mbappe. 4 key passes, 34 of 41 passing, 33 of 39 in the opposition half. 6 long balls, completed all 6. 55 touches, 3 successful dribbles, 28 carries, 7 of them progressive. His longest progressive carry was under 27 meters. Michael Olise, by the way. Crystal Palace had Michael Olise. Happy to be here, FC had Michael Olise and sent him on his merry way. 2 assists, 2 big chances created, 3 key passes, 3 of 8 on crosses, 63 of 69 passing at 91%. 2 long balls for Olise as well. Then on the dribble, 93 touches. He had 2 unsuccessful touches. I imagine Dictator Mbappe let him hear it on that one. 2 for 3 on the dribble. 7 progressive carries for Olise as well. His longest progressive carry was over 41 meters. Mbappe a 9.8, Olise an 8.8. Lineup for them yesterday, Mikey Maignan in net, Digne, Saliba, Upamecano, and Jules Koundé. Rabiot and Tchouaméni in front of them. Barcola, Olise, and Dembele in the attack, and Mbappe up top. So 2 wins down. Then that set up the third one. And for this one, they had to wait a bit. Rain in the area, thunder, lightning, very, very frightening me. But it seemed like Mexico did not, El Tri meaning, not the entire country, but El Tri came into this one and they wanted to press Ecuador out of the building, make them completely uncomfortable, make them think quickly, too quickly at times, make them rush, and it showed. You had 2 goals early that pretty much put the game out of reach, and that was the vibe I got anyway. It really could have been a lot larger number than it was. Quiñones in the 22nd, Raul Jimenez in the 31st. And here's how things started, courtesy of our friends at Telemundo Deportes.
Se manda Quiñones, parecía adelantado, viene Quiñones, 3 que atacan, 3 que defienden, Quiñones. Su goleador, Julián Andrés Quiñones. Habrá que ver si estaba o no adelantado a los 22 minutos. Magnífico servicio por la banda izquierda. Se abre en diagonal. Gambetea sobre la marca de William Pacho. Gran servicio del Piojo Alvarado. Y de derecha la manda a guardar. A los 22 minutos. Gol de México. Gana el Tri. 1-0.
Sorry, that was our friend Sammy Sadovnik at Football de Primera Radio. So that was FDP. And Sammy was on the call for that one. So you end up with these numbers, and we'll go through the stats. And then there was also a minute that we need to a minute in the match late we need to kind of keep an eye on. Numbers in this one. So stats, and we can pretty much put this one out of reach after the first 45, but we'll go ahead and punch all the numbers. 57% possession for Ecuador, And when you're trailing 2, Mexico really doesn't care. We're up and we're cruising. That doesn't necessarily surprise. Total shots 15-7, 2 big chances, both of them converted in the first half by Mexico. 24 fouls, which seems to be a magic number, 14-10 for Ecuador. 3 yellow cards and a red. Like I said, we'll get into the red here coming up in a bit. 2 big chances missed for Mexico. 20 touches in the opposition 18 compared to 21 for Ecuador. Ecuador had their chances. They just didn't convert, especially early when they needed to. Ground duels were 50-50. Aerial duels 23-15. Ecuador was more successful on the dribble at 8-6. 60 passes in the final third of 103 for Mexico, 90 of 133 for Ecuador. Once again, you're seeing all of these passes. Final third entries in a game that was back and forth. 72-58 Ecuador. Accurate passes, they had more than 100, but once again, they were chasing the match. 15 total shots to 7, 3 on target to 1. 9 shots off target compared to 5. 3 blocked shots of Mexico's compared to 1 for Ecuador. 10 inside the 18, 5 outside the 18 compared to 5 and 2. Picks 7-6, recoveries 35-34, clearances for Mexico 39-19. Once again, you're up by 2 goals. You're going to be doing that a lot. And so they answered the proverbial bell in this one. Now, there was a moment late that we need to get more information on. And it was where Piero Hincapi was given a red after VAR for covering his mouth. And you look at the replays of that particular moment on Telemundo, and you see Hincapi cover his mouth, and he continues to discuss whatever he was discussing. And then the instant that you see the Mexico player who was standing next to him instantly alerting the official about, covering his mouth. So we had that come to the fore late in the match at 90+4, and then obviously for the final 5 minutes, it would be it would be 11-10, dismissed in stoppage time. So looking for other elements here. So Hincapi goes up to Santiago Jimenez, spoke with his hand over his mouth. Jimenez goes over to referee Slavko Vincic to complain, just as Turkey's Mert Mulder did when Miguel Almiron was given a red. Hincapi gets an automatic one-match ban for the red. FIFA's Disco holds the power to extend the suspension if they choose to. Miggy, once again, remember, had his suspension kept at a game. And there is no, and this is in the wording of the story from our friends at The Athletic, Luke Boscher, and this was updated about 8 hours ago. No indication Hincapi said anything discriminatory. The player covers his mouth and says something, and this has a racist consequence, then he has to be sent off, obviously quoting Gianni Infantino in his interview with Sky News in March. FIFA referee chief Pierluigi Collina explained in June, if it is a friendly conversation, they can continue to do it without any problem. This was when IFAB convened the extraordinary meeting where the decision was made to make the action of covering your mouth while confronting an opponent a red card offense. When it's confrontational, according to Boscher, completely different story. Covering the mouth means you're doing something potentially very wrong. Quote, quoting Collina at the time, this is something you do on purpose. It's not something that a player can do instinctively. So that at least that is the jump that Collina is making in the issuance of a card in that situation. So he said, I still have not seen anything where it has been divulged where what Hincapi said. Say, thank you, Santi Jimenez. Thank you, Alex. And I'm sitting here and I'm trying to see if the exchanging words with Santi Jimenez deep into stoppage time. Unclear what Hincapie said. This is from Yahoo Sports. Unclear what Hincapie said, but the fact that he covered his mouth during the exchange resulted in the straight red. Rulebook, quote, any player who covers their mouth with a hand, arm, or shirt during a confrontation with an opponent will be punished with a red card. So, bottom line, covered his mouth, confrontational situation, red card. Finishing with 10, and then Piero Hincapie is going to be in front of the tribunal to determine what's next for him. Is it going to stick at 1 like it did for Miguel Almiron, or are they going to do more matches attached to it? That'll be the next question. So that leads us to the fallout. Yesterday, we had talked about it to a certain degree, that we were wondering if, in fact, Ronald Koeman was going to stay. And as it turned out, he did not. We were wondering about it. A lot of folks have been very, very critical of Koeman, especially in the last match. Informed the Dutch Football Association he was not going to extend his contract as head coach of the Netherlands national team when it expires. Announced the decision the day after the elimination. End of his second spell as head coach. Quoting Koeman, precisely because I've worked so closely and intensively with his coaching staff and this group of players for such a long time, this was not an easy decision to make. I'm grateful and would like to express my sincere appreciation for the dedication shown by everyone involved with Orange during both of my periods as head coach. Of course, it is deeply disappointing that our World Cup campaign has ended so early, but once I've had time to process it and look back, I will mainly remember the great cooperation and the many wonderful moments we shared together. I would therefore like to thank everyone who contributed to that. I've decided that now is the right time to spend more time with my wife, children, and grandchildren. At this moment, it feels like the right and most natural decision. So, Koeman, gone. Then we add into the conversation Marcelo Bielsa. And we were wondering aloud what the press conference was going to be like. And the press conference, it wasn't too bad. You were kind of wondering how long it was going to be. And Bielsa had some points that he felt that he needed to address. Bielsa explained that Uruguayan players asked him to shorten his 10-minute team talks as a part of it. Admitted his relationship with all the players was not ideal. Explains, citing data, as he always does, that this did not affect performance. Bielsa also, though, did take full responsibility. And he also did agree at the time that he was going to shorten the length of his conversations. The talks were broken up, quote, and never longer than 10 minutes. I consulted experts to adapt to younger mindsets, and they told me that the talks had to be shorter and on different days to avoid overtaxing the players' attention. Also in the press conference, a former Uruguayan national team player says that it was clearly evident on the pitch that the group and the coach were disunited. Bielsa said, and I say exactly the opposite. We were united enough to run 20% more than Arabia, 30% more than Cabo Verde, and 25% more than Spain. He denied having conflicts with team members, although he did acknowledge he failed to build a good relationship with his players during the tenure. Beyond the sporting result, according to Victor Hugo Morales, once again upheld his convictions until the end, closed his chapter at the helm of the Celeste without abandoning his way of understanding football. And then he also discussed Fernando Muslera. He said Muslera was so shaken by the mistake he had made, undoubtedly linking it to previous situations, that he preferred to stop playing because the group's chances were still intact and he was not in the best condition to face that second half where he had everything to achieve. That struck me as an act of greatness and generosity that is uncommon in today's football. Bielsa has said that nothing of what he tried to transmit during his time as Uruguay coach was important at any level after his side's group stage exit from the World Cup. Tomas Gil Lopez Menchero at The Athletic. I didn't know if it was going to be 45 seconds or if it was going to last an entire length of a match. Went an hour and 40. Hour and 40 minutes. With his standard his standard stack of books. Said his team deserves 7 points from their 3 group matches. They got 2. He defended Muslera, and we ran that quote. The 70-year-old said he was, quote, no good at posing for photos, referring to the unusual World Cup shoot. And he blamed the pitch side reporter for the outburst during the interview that followed the loss to Spain. He described it as a very painful farewell. Quote, what I have absolute certainty of is that nobody cares what I know. I know when someone cares what I know. Nothing I tried to transmit was important at any level. That was never important from my point of view. I don't see anything bad in it. Other people aren't interested in learning what I know. Case closed. Nobody was interested in what I transmitted. I don't have the smallest doubt of that. I've experienced it in the same way that an engineer who lived in Australia and wanted to be a manager in Montevideo came over. I said, okay, come over. I told him what I know, and he accepted it and is now working in Uruguayan football. He's the only one who I remember being interested, end quote. Bielsa explained that Muslera had suffered a 100-degree fever, 38 Celsius, the day before the Spain match, but had recovered to play before asking to be replaced at halftime because of that error. Finished his press conference by saying, I wanted to make reference to something, an apology in inverted commas. When they took my photo, I'm no good at posing for photos. Second thing I wanted to refer to was after the game against Spain, where there's obligations with the companies who buy the rights to give certain quantity of interviews. They managed times of anguish as if they were times of happiness. I reacted against the delay in the questions, which I was obliged to answer, yelling, get on with it. And I reacted because they waited, and I was overcome with pain. That's why I perhaps wasn't as polite as I should have been. So that is from Tomaso Lopez Minchero and The Athletic. Marcelo Bielsa, gone. Then we saw late night after the match, Ali Rampling, once again at The Athletic, and this literally was 4 o'clock this morning. Bekasese announced his intention to step down as Ecuador head coach after they exited the World Cup. Told reporters after Wednesday's loss he would not be continuing in the role, explaining although his side did not achieve what he had hoped, he was proud of what we built. Reuters, quote, our contract ended with the World Cup. I don't think we were able to achieve the feat we promised to make this the best World Cup ever. Today, it's my turn to say goodbye. I have gratitude for the people, gratitude for the players who gave their hearts. This has been a painful evening, but I leave with good memories of the dressing room tonight after the match, talking with the boys. They were 2 beautiful hours. We built a family. We didn't achieve what I said we would, but I feel complete. I know what we built, end quote. Appointed in the summer of 24 following his departure from Elche. And so Bekasese, Grandmaster Bekasese, is now looking for work. So that's your fallout from yesterday. Today, 3 matches starting at noon. Let me hit refresh real quick and let me see if the juice boxes have changed. Starting at the blank tank, England a minus 333, draws a plus 425. DR Congo is a plus 1,300. That's match number 1. Match number 2 after that, Belgium and Senegal. That one is in Seattle at Lumen. Numbers there. Belgium a plus 114, draws a plus 229. Senegal is a plus 270. Is that one in Picks of the Week? No. Mexico, Ecuador was. So once again, Picks of the Week in the Discord and the Medio. Then obviously the last match tonight, 8 o'clock, USA, Bosnia-Herzegovina. USA a minus 250, draws a plus 400. Bosnia and Herzegovina, set pieces, people, at Levi's. Bosnia and Herzegovina is a plus 750. So what does Thomas Tuchel anticipate from DR Congo? Here was his answer yesterday at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Atlanta Stadium, courtesy of FIFA, their own selves.
I think we're facing a very, very compact, very physical a team, a well-drilled team in a expectedly 5-3-2 formation, sometimes a 5-diamond-4 formation, especially with the ball, but off the ball a 5-3-2, compact block, disciplined defending, change between high press and low block, very devoted, very disciplined, well drilled. So very dangerous in counterattacks, very direct in their approach of play, can play, not shy to play long balls into the depths, make it a running game, make it a game into second balls. A team that didn't allow a lot of chances, didn't allow a lot of goals against teams like Colombia and Portugal. So that's basically what waits for us. We know where we are. We know that it's now the moment to find ways to win. It's the moment to dig in. It's the moment to be patient and to do what we do on highest level. They have the capacity to make their life difficult for everyone. They did it to Portugal and Colombia. So the mindset is clear, and we're ready for tomorrow.
So we will ask somebody if Thomas Tuchel is in fact correct about his assessment. And for that, we go inside the inner sanctum of Atlanta Stadium, or at least inside the walls. What's up, Jamie? Is Thomas Tuchel correct?
Well, you were there in the press conference yesterday, and I think that he had it spot on. I had the best seat in the house right behind you, so it was great. Now I got the best seat in the house here today for this matchup. As you can tell, just right on the cusp of section 340, but high up in my perch here to watch the England national team take on DR Congo. I tell you what, it is a matchup in which there will be questions about the tactics which Tuchel can take. He can approach this in a myriad of different ways. I think he's spot on with DR Congo, what they want to do with 5-3-2. That's pretty straightforward. They're going to try to make it difficult and ugly for England. But Thomas Tuchel has the question of, who do you start at right back, right? There's some injuries as well. Reece James is out. And then you start to look at what do you do? I really think it would be pertinent for this England side to be attack-minded, to really go and chase the game's first goal. And I think that means then you have Jed Spence on the right, you have Nico O'Reilly on the left. You ask them to go forward, and at times it could look like as many as 6 players on the front line for England if they're doing it right and getting numbers forward.
You look at the DR Congo side. Sebastian Desaab had his press conference yesterday, and DR Congo, for those of us on the outside, they're playing with house money. Johan Vissa has turned into the Johan Vissa I think that Newcastle would have liked to have seen from the absolute beginning, but Brentford got to see with Thomas Frank from the absolute beginning. What are you anticipating from them? Are you anticipating them turning it into a grinder and trying to just take advantage of turnovers? How are you looking at DR Congo?
Yeah, I mean, look at this. If I was to give you this equation, right? If you were going against Mike Tyson in the ring, are you going to get in there and try to throw punches? No, you're going to make this as ugly as possible. You're going to try to grind out points. You're going to try to do everything you can to get a result when it's all said and done. And this is the knockout football of the World Cup. You don't ask how you got to the next round. They just ask, did you get to the next round? And so I give you that Mike Tyson analogy because England's number 4 in the world. There's very few that are better right now than England. And on paper, we all know how this game appears to be. But what DR Congo can do is they can make this as ugly of a game as possible. They can congest things. They can try to frustrate England. The longer it goes 0-0, obviously the more pressure starts to mount onto the English side. And then DR Congo are just looking for one moment of creativity. Johan Wissa seems like the man that seems like the man that is going to be able to create that. But they've also got some opportunities with Bakambu. He can create some things, and Ella Langley. I hope we don't have to pay for those broadcast rights, as Atlanta Stadium is starting to show off here. I'll hit mute so we don't have to pay rights fees here.
Exactly. Yeah, because we're gonna turn it over to the folks in Lausanne, Switzerland, if that happens. It's like, here, you gentlemen turned this on this morning, so we didn't have your rundown. You have had a run of pretty decent matches at Atlanta Stadium, man. You've had some fun stuff to call this entire run. What's it been like for you?
Well, you've gotten to be there for a lot of the press conferences, and you just see the gravitas of what this World Cup is. It's incredible, and today's my last game, so I'm very sad that it'll be coming to an end. It was pre-planned, not, like I said, a bad joke that didn't land. It's been amazing to see. It's a dream come true to be here. I've watched these games on the couch, and I will do when this ends. but to be able to commentate it has been a dream come true. And we've gotten to see some incredible stories. The legend of Vozinha starts right here. And, I can only imagine what his life has been like. He'll remember Atlanta forever because of this and his performance against Spain, where Cabo Verde really gave a foreshadowing of what the rest of the tournament was going to look like for them, where they were going to be the tournament darlings. And then from there, man, we've had Morocco, Haiti, which I think was one of the most enjoyable 45 minutes of this tournament when it was 2-2 at half. So it's been pretty special, man. And Atlanta has shown on the world stage why it is such an amazing, diverse, culturally rich place. It has been welcoming. It has been a wonderful host. And I'm so happy that people have gotten to see just how great this city is around the world.
We've got match number 1. I want to get into match number 3 before I send you off to get your morning caffeine. USA, Bosnia-Herzegovina, and the next round. I figured you were going to have something that was going to be like the 32-ounce tumbler. To get
where do you get the big ones at? I can actually just ask you. You know where to get all the good caffeine around here.
Oh, well, yeah, usually it's down in the press level. In the press box where you normally are when you're calling matches on Apple.
I'll tell them I know you, and I'll get the good stuff.
Exactly.
Sure.
They'll sit there and you go, no, you got to pay $10 extra. That's how. I mean, I'll bring the Tervis tumbler for you, so that way you can have the 32 ounces ready to go.
That's why you're a good man, John.
When you look at this matchup tonight at Levi's, and you see what's going on with the U.S. and the expectations that are there, and Edin Dzeko, who is 72 years old, who is still being productive for Bosnia and Herzegovina and everything else. What kind of a matchup are you anticipating tonight with the U.S.? And it is a match that they should win, all things being equal. Bosnia and Herzegovina, they're troublemakers, and they like that idea. What kind of a matchup are you anticipating?
Just look no further what Bosnia and Herzegovina had to do to even get here. They got to the 14 playoff. They had to draw against Wales, go to penalties. They had to draw against Italy and hold on and be able to grind out a result to go to penalties. This is a group that has just proven 3 months ago they can do that against teams in a way that is frustrating, but it still gets you beyond to the next round. It's survive and advance at any means necessary at this point. So I imagine this game will be very aesthetically unpleasing at times. And the more it is that way, the better that is for Bosnia and Herzegovina. For the U.S. men's national team, look, I didn't get in this seat to commentate the World Cup by coming up with this really good elite analysis. Scoring the first goal is important. But more so importantly in this game than probably any other game that the U.S. men's national team have seen in any other game leading up to this tournament and during this tournament, because if they can get the first goal, now you ask Bosnia to come out and to try to play and to try to break you down. And when that happens, then it becomes disjointed. Then the spaces start to open up and the gaps start to appear and things get a lot easier. But just like in this game with DR Congo versus England, the longer this goes 0-0, the more pressure becomes on the United States. And this group has yet to see real pressure, real adversity in this tournament with the quote-unquote first team, So I'm excited to see how it goes. Hopefully it's uneventful because hopefully the U.S. get that first goal early like they have in the previous 3. And then they go from there against a Bosnia team that cannot sit in as much.
Post broadcast, Audacy. You are our 5-tool player, by the way. You're like our 5-league player.
Jack of all trades, master of none is what
my line. That is my line.
That's why we're best friends.
and I wrote it. No doubt. I wrote it down right here. Scoring the first goal is important. Right there.
See?
Right there. It's in
I'm
my
telling you, man. That's why we get along so well. We just see it similarly, man. That's the reality of it.
Yeah. Well, I wrote down what you said because
let me ask you this then. I'm going to flip the script. So What's been your favorite part so far of this World Cup? Whether that's you personally, whether that's you getting to see things. What have you enjoyed the most about Atlanta being a host city? And by the way, Atlanta has been a remarkable host city. Everyone's been great, but Atlanta's been remarkable.
All of the new faces. DR Congo for me, I love that. Seeing Uzbekistan with Fabio Cannavaro, our Nick Alifi, who is our resident master of Italy, when he found out that Uzbekistan was going to be here in town at training up at Children's Healthcare, it's like, I'll cover everything. I got them all. I'm good. Nick was all fired up about that one. But give me the new faces in the new 48 team field and how it's a bit of a wake up call for the rest of the planet. That, I mean, when you have the African continent with 9 out of 10. and you have all of the CONCACAF making their way through with folks like Curacao and such, and Haiti with everything that they were able to do. Give me good stories 8 days a week. You get that with Haiti. You get that with Curacao. You get that with DR Congo. And happy anniversary for them. They had their birthday yesterday as a nation. And give me the new guys. I mean, I know that I'm like, when I fill out my bracket for that tournament that happens in March and April, I don't know if I can actually say the name because then we'll get in trouble. Kind of like,
yeah, a lot of rice fees are going out the door today. Sorry for
nothing. Well, and I'll send that one to the folks in Kansas or Indianapolis. That one's going to Indianapolis. This part of the program's going there. I always in the middle of my bracket that I fill out for information purposes only because there's always no wagering. I fill it out, and in the middle, it's always going to be chalk. And I fill out my bracket in the middle, and I go out. That's what I do every year. I start here and I go outbound because it's going to be the main dudes and the end of it all. But early, give me the new guys. Give me the troublemakers. Give me some folks that I haven't seen before just so I can have a little bit of variety and have good stories. So Bosnia-Herzegovina, Curacao, Haiti, DR Congo, Uzbekistan. Give me that stuff. That's what I'm digging.
Would you feel that way if Cabo Verde upsets Argentina?
Oh, absolutely. Well, Jason would have a coronary.
So would you feel good if that took away Lionel Messi's opportunity to lift a second World Cup trophy? Because pretty clear path for Argentina, but do you feel as warm and fuzzy about Cabo Verde if they take us away from Leo forever in the World Cup?
Well, I'm not putting him playing in 40 at 43. I'm not putting that past him.
I would never doubt him for anything. God forbid, I don't want to be the one to do that.
Yeah, we learned that after Qatar. I would dig it. We'd have to scramble for other stuff. We'd probably be talking about Mbappe and England more than anything else. If you had that seismic event, that wouldn't even be a 116. That would be like the team coming through in Dayton. And they're below 500.
Why is Dayton catching strays here? Unbelievable.
No.
I'm from Dayton.
The round,
no, I'm just kidding, I'm not.
When you go to Hara Arena and you have like the stuff on Tuesday and Wednesday, the field is 69, the 60, 68, the 64 plus
the
4.
play-in games, yeah.
Yeah, so basically it would be like having a team going into the play-in game at Dayton Arena. They're below 500 coming in. They win out of Dayton. They're a 16. They take on the overall number 1 seed and then knock them off. And then the 8-9 sits there and goes, ooh, our path just got better.
Basically, yeah, that's a good analogy for it. That's a good Americanization analogy of it. So, yeah, look, I mean, the stories have been great. I'm totally with you. And I think it's been incredible. I think getting to be a part of it, whether inside the stadium or around the stadium, man, to be able to see – I remember there was a point during the Morocco-Haiti game where I was – looking around and I was watching Haiti, who had been eliminated from the tournament, but they were still playing with this reckless abandon, and their fans, it was the loudest pop out of all the games that we've heard when Haiti came out. So that just goes to tell me, like, Haitians were so happy to see their people, and they had nothing to play for at the time. And then watching Moroccans and Haitians dancing arm in arm, I mean, it was a beautiful display. And our good friend Kevin Egan, he's got this viral audio that's going around trending on Instagram. If you're looking to make a reel about the World Cup, search World Cup Healing. And you'll hear his voice from an answer that he did when I believe he gave an interview, I think with CNN here in town. And it starts out with saying, they're asking about, what do you tell people who maybe are on the fence about this World Cup thing? And Kevin starts in by saying, can I tell you a little secret? The World Cup, it's not all about football. It's about the people. And it's about the countries. And you may go, I encourage you to get off the couch. You're never going to remember another Wednesday where you sit on the couch. Go downtown. Try a bit of food that you've never had. Hear a language that you've never heard before. And I'm getting chills right now hearing it. And it's the truest thing I have heard about this World Cup, because we're talking about 90 minutes today here. But for the other 22 and a half hours of the day, it's going to be people who have come into town, whether you're on the outskirts of town or outside of this continent. And you're going to be able to see Atlanta at its finest. And you're going to be able to meet some new people. And you're going to be able to have a life experience. It's what's been the best part about this. And, man, it gives me a real assurance that maybe what we don't see in the media is what our reality actually truly is, because we don't see the heartwarming stories of strangers becoming friends by the end of a game. And you may never see these people again, but you had a great day together. You had a great experience together. And, maybe this world is healing in a sense, through football, and say what you want about all the other stuff around the tournament. When it all comes down to it, you've got a collection of people together to enjoy the beautiful game and leave here telling stories about this for the rest of their lives. It's the best part.
Damn, that was good stuff.
Hey, not bad for John's Coffee Maker. I don't know if you haven't even noticed my tag today is Jamie Watson, John's Coffee Maker.
I mean,
for your viewers online,
Yeah, right there. John's Coffee.
I offered to make you coffee yesterday, and you didn't even want to. So apparently, I'm John's not very good coffee maker.
Dude, I am never liked coffee. I have never been a coffee person. I
know
the flavored water for me, the flavored hot water, all it does is burn my mouth. I've never dug the taste of coffee.
I didn't like it till I had kids, and then I needed it to survive. That's what works for me.
I have never been since New Year's Day 1990. I've never done alcohol, and I've never done coffee. So it's just I don't dig it.
Good man. Stay strong then. Don't give in to either.
Oh, no doubt. It's fantastic. It was great to see you yesterday. It's been great to see you here at Atlanta Stadium through each and every match day. When do you get locked into your booth with you and Sharpie? When do you guys stay in place?
Chris Sharples is right there next to me. He's being an absolute consummate professional. He is getting ready to go. He's pretending like he doesn't hear me right now, but he's writing in all of his eloquent words that he'll intertwine in. It will be interwoven throughout the entire call around the world. So it's really, really cool, man.
He's writing all of his ad libs out, is what you're saying.
Exactly, right? All the good stuff. No, he's incredible, man. I've been lucky to work here. Everybody here is so talented, and so you just feel so happy to be a piece to the puzzle here.
Fantastic, my friend. I will be probably drifting past you in Atlanta Stadium today, and just go give him hell. We'll see you in the building. We'll see you in a bit.
I hope you do. Let's do this again soon. I'm a big fan of yours, John. Keep up the great work, man.
Thank you, Jamie. Jamie's going to go buddy. And get more caffeine. I got to bring him the 32 ounce. We got to get like SDH tumblers, like 32 ounces. We got to do those. And then that way he can go in. And if Ella Langley and that Swift person got us into trouble, we're sending the bill to Lausanne, Switzerland. That's what we're doing. Jamie Watson, everybody. It's great to always see Jamie. Jamie's one of our 5-tool guys, and he's been an OG for us. And he's been an A-lister since the absolute beginning. So he's put up with us, I think, pretty much every season since season number 1. Since we're here in season 10, and Jamie's been with us, I think, from the beginning. So Jamie, one of the originals, he's an OG for us here. And obviously we love him very much, especially for crashing from section 340 this morning inside Atlanta Stadium. It's Mercedes-Benz. We know, but still. All right, so before we get out of here, since Jamie mentioned it, we got to talk about Mauricio Pochettino and what he had to say going into this matchup tonight. So here's Poch, courtesy of our friends at FIFA.
I think we were working in the previous weeks, months about that, helping after, I need to give credit also some good friend like Jorge Valdano that was world champion in 1986. I remember one day talking, said to me, Mauricio, relaxation bring concentration, in that sport, in soccer, in football. All this type of thing that someone like us that we like always improve and open to learn, that is massive. In the way that we were preparing to arrive in this type of moment is about, thinking, not only talking about the theory, if not after apply the theory, but tomorrow is a final. But again, Paraguay was a final. And we tried also to translate when we play in Chicago against Germany or in Charlotte against Senegal, or the previous game, Uruguay in Tampa or Philadelphia against Paraguay. I think to try to recreate similar feelings and emotion. Tomorrow, if we want to perform, the approach need to be like before Paraguay, knowing and respecting the opponent because it's going to be really tough, but believing in us and go there and transform all that expectation and pressure in energy and try to be natural, play, and all that we were working is the moment tomorrow to apply on the field. It's true that depend of too many factors. After situation that you can perform better or not. But I think the job is done, and they need now to be relaxed and not to think, and tomorrow play with the intuition and with the confidence that all that we were preparing is going to appear on the field.
Mauricio Pochettino getting ready for the matchup tonight against Bosnia and Herzegovina. Once again, 8:00, and it will be it'll be a very, very busy day. So what we're going to do, we've got a couple of pieces of news. Tom Bogert is reporting that Saba Lobjanidze may have a new home, and obviously we'll keep an eye on that. So what Tommy Scoops reported yesterday was that RSL is going to acquire Saba. Atlanta's going to get $625 in Garber bucks plus $100,000 in add-ons. Atlanta is also holding on to a portion of Lobjanidze's budget charge. So we'll keep an eye on that one. That one popped up last night around midnight. And so we'll keep an eye on that as a possible transaction involving Atlanta United as everyone's starting to drift back into training camps and get ready for the sprint between the middle of July and middle of November and possibly December going into the playoffs. So we'll keep an eye on that one. That one's a local story. Obviously, we're going to keep an eye on that. Get into gossip, rumor, and innuendo, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. Brought to us by our friends at Fanatis, ftz.co/soccer down here. And it's easy today. Once again, Big FOX has England and DR Congo at noon. FS1 has Belgium and Senegal at 4. And then tonight, obviously, Big FOX is going to blow up USA and Bosnia-Herzegovina at 8:00. Telemundo has all 3. CBS Sports Network has Spokane Velocity and Forward Madison. That one is out west at 10:00. The Plus has 3 in League One. Charlotte Corpus Christi at 5:30. Red Wolves in Westchester at 7. Union Omaha and AV Alta is at 10:30. Fox ONE has England, DR Congo, and Bosnia and USA and Bosnia-Herzegovina. They do not have the middle match. Peacock has all 3, and that is in the round of 32 at noon, 4, and 8. Also on the board, it is, once again, keeping an eye on those matchups. With Fanatis, you get a lot of the activity in South America. It is Venezuela, if you want it. It is CDO out of Chile. It is TSA out of Argentina. A lot of the A and B divisions tap into Tigo Sports, tap into CATV, tap into BN, and all the BNs, Middle East, North Africa, what have you. You get CAF, you get AFCON, you get all the U qualifiers, you get Libertadores, you get Sudamericana at Fanatis, ftz.co/soccer down here. So that's the rundown of what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. Now, gossip, rumor, and innuendo. And we will also try and effort our way out of here as well. So let's see, first and foremost, if the gossip is up. It is. Okay, so Sam Ty and Bill Connolly. And we're going to – no, that's not what I hit, but sure. Okay, fine. That was definitely not the button that I pushed. Let's see. So transfer talk. Oh, that's transfer rumors. Okay, so here we go. I hit the wrong story. So trending rumors, headlines. Team talk, Liverpool 6-man winger shortlist, including Christian Pulisic. It also includes Barcola, Minte from Brighton, Said Al-Malaf from FC Cologne, Hoffenheim's Bazumana Traore, and Lille's Matias Fernandez Pardo. Arsenal stepping up their interest in Barcola, according to the BBC. And that's also, once again, as everyone is chasing after Yan Diomande. PSG trying to accelerate their interest in Bournemouth's Junior Krupi, according to Team Talk. PSG reported to look at Krupi as an option to replace Gonzalo Ramos, who left to go to AC Milan, and the outgoing Rando Colomawani, who is set to go to Juve. United has spoken to Rashford's camp about staying at the club this summer, according to Fabrizio Romano. Inter Milan stepping up their interest in Trevor Chalobah, according to Gazzetta. One offer at €27 million rejected. Chelsea's holding out for 35. Tottenham have agreed £85 million for West Ham Mateus Fernandes. Everton set to complete the signing of Hayden Hackney for the region of $25 million from Middlesbrough. Jeremy Jacquet in the door, France U21 defender, £60 million to Liverpool. And Andreas Christensen, Barcelona signed a new deal running through 2028. Fabrizio Romano, Bournemouth insists they're not letting Alex Scott leave this summer. New offer on the table, new contract on the table. He also, meaning Romano, Juve set to sign Genoa forward Jeff Akator, who's 19, agreement struck for €16 million, $2 million in add-ons. Florian Plettenberg. Coventry City set to sign Aurela Emenda from Eintracht Frankfurt. Frank Lampard wants to get him at center back. Sasha Tavolieri. Leipzig have made an offer in the region of 24 million euro to Burnley for Maxime Esteve, center back linked with Liverpool as well. Nicola Shira. AC Milan in talks with Sporting over a deal on Gonzalo Inacio, 24-year-old center back. Dusan Vlahovic, according to Ekrem Konur, his agent's exploring a move to Barca following his exit from Juve. Konur also, Rangers keen on bringing in Mikey Moore from Spurs back to Rangers. Spent last season out on loan, could be at Ibrox for another loan spell this campaign. Leeds keen on signing Zion Suzuki, the Japanese netminder, 23-year-old Parma keeper, viewed as an ideal option to become the team's number one. That's from Gianluca Di Marzio. He also says Juve are continuing to monitor a move for Guillermo Vicario, with the Spurs keeper rising up the short list for the summer. Now, just to let you know what's going on here, broadcast day today. For us, it is going to be, when it comes to SDH, remember, you've got this. We're ending here in a couple of minutes. Then it's going to be us out and about. Keep an eye on your socials and all of our coverage that is going to be attached to the day. Tonight, it is going to be SDH on patrol, and we are going to be part of Atlanta Soccer tonight, 6 to 8, leading into the U.S. match. And so that one is going to be up and running. So 92.9 The Game, the Audacy app, all those different places leading up to the USA match at 8 o'clock. So 6 to 8, 92.9 The Game, 92.9 The Game Facebook, Audacy app, all the places, 6 to 8. We're going to be live as your pregame leading into the matchup at 8. We'll be hanging around, and we'll let you know what's going on. I believe we're going to be at Stats. So if you are still in the area and are hanging around from 6 to 8, anywhere around dinner time, we're all going to be at Stats. Atlanta Soccer tonight. Jason's going to try and ride herd, and we'll let you know what's going on with everything that has happened today there. Now, let's wrap things up, and we will let you know that today is going to be crazy. It's going to be fun. Please have fun and enjoy it. It's going to be crazy down at Atlanta Stadium. It's going to be crazier leading into the U.S. match. So enjoy your day. Have fun with the day. And it's going to be an absolute blast because it is the knockouts. And the winner of this one gets to go to the Azteca. The winner of this one goes to the Azteca. So you end up possibly, you could have legitimately a moment where England, if they are trying to get to the last game of the tournament, then you will end up with England having to go through Mexico in the Azteca as a part of this in the round of 16. The path for England is ridiculous. And we'll cover it starting today, coming up in a couple hours here from Atlanta Stadium. So for everybody here, to all of you there, have fun today. And thanks to all of our friends, and thanks to Jamie Watson for joining us from Section 340 inside Atlanta Stadium as they're getting ready for their broadcast on the host broadcast service. Jamie and Chris Sharples have been doing fantastic work, and I told Jamie, you better have all of those tapes from all those games. It's another go-round of SDH AM, back at it again, obviously, through the day. Atlanta Soccer tonight, leading you into the U.S. match. We'll be back at it again tomorrow morning, 9:05. We're going to review everything that happened today, preview everything that's going to be happening Friday, and the Power Hour with Nino and Nico at 10 o'clock in the 10 o'clock hour. So for everybody here, to all of you there, have fun today. And if you need a note, if you maybe got sick and want to see the England match, maybe you can. Just let us know. We'll try and come up with something on stationery. Since it's the end of the show, Mucha Plati, I'll play it safe. That means we get to do this. See you downtown. See you tonight. See you again tomorrow. Have fun, folks.